Hello everyone and welcome to the Pip and Pin Podcast. My name is Maema Nodecker and I'm a knitwear designer from Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. You can find me on Ravelry as Knit Pip and Pin, on Instagram as Pip and Pin, and at pipandpin.ca. So today I have lots of things to share. I've been doing lots of stuff. Some weeks it feels like I don't do anything at all, and then other weeks like, oh, I actually have so many things to show. And today is one of those weeks. So I hope you are ready to see some stuff. So the first thing that I would like to share is a finished object, and it is this guy right here. This is the Musselburgh hat. It's a pattern by Isolde Teague, and it is a wonderful little pattern. It is written so that you can kind of use all sorts of different weights of yarn, and then you don't have to swatch because you just knit a little bit and then look at your gauge and kind of go from there. Now I made mine with sport weight yarn. This is Fiber for the People in Jupiter, and it did turn out quite a bit shorter than what the pattern calls for, but I'm okay with that. I really wanted to use up as much of the yarn as possible, and I think I ended up with just this teeny tiny little ball. I finished this up yesterday. What I probably, thinking back now, what I probably should have done is because you kind of start on one end. Do I want to take it off? Not really. So it's double thick is what it is essentially. You start by casting on, a little circle, and then you do crown increases, then you knit a big long tube, then you do more crown decreases, and then you flip it so that it's double layered. So I actually didn't want a folded brim anyways, but what I should have done, because I really wanted to use up every single bit of the yarn, is after I was done my increases, weighing how much those increases were. So then when I got to the other end, the decrease side, I could just weigh my remaining yarn and see if that matched up. But I didn't, so I just did my best guess, and I'm glad that I didn't run out of yarn, but I did have a little bit extra. I don't have it with me, but it was just a teeny bit, maybe like 5 grams or something. It's really just being nitpicky. I really enjoy the way this hat fits. I did change that as well though. In the pattern, I think it calls for about 2 inches of negative ease. It's kind of more of a more fitted, and then it kind of has that triangle kind of crown thing. I didn't want that. I wanted something loose and really just easy to throw on. So I did mine with like maybe an inch of positive ease, maybe no ease. I didn't really measure it after it was blocked and everything, but I'm thinking it's sitting somewhere around no ease, maybe a little bit of positive ease. It's very loose, it's very stretchy, it's exactly what I wanted it to be, but I did not follow the sizing instructions that she gave. I think I knit the biggest size when I should have knit, according to her, the medium. But I'm very happy with the decisions that I made. I can tell that this is going to be something that I wear all the time. I really needed a black dark hat. It'll go great with I have a black raincoat that I wear all the time. And then all the colors, let's just come a little closer here so you can see kind of the colors that are in there. It's all the colors that I wear. So like there is this color in there, there's even that yellow in there, there's rust in there, there's white, there's green, there's a little bit of everything. So no matter what I'm wearing, it will go. Yeah. And this was one of those skeins of yarn. I know I kind of mentioned this last time, but the way this skein of yarn was dyed is you have the skein, kind of like this, and all of the color is kind of concentrated in one little section, which the skeins of yarn are absolutely beautiful, but it did make it tricky for me to figure out what to do with it. Because when you dye yarn like that, it will pool, because all of the colors are kind of concentrated in one spot in exactly the same distance from each other the whole time. So it will pool unless you do something, alternate or do some weird things. So originally I had wanted to make myself another headband, an Aurora headband, but just the way that the yarn is, and because of the circumference of the headband, it was pooling in really, really strange ways, and I just couldn't handle it. And this kind of did like a cool stripy thing, which I am totally good with. So yeah, very excited to use this skein of yarn. I've had it for a really long time, and I actually have 3 more skeins of the DK weight, which I was thinking of maybe making a shawl with, not to wear together because I don't think I can do matchy match very well. But then I was also thinking of maybe seeing if I have enough to make a Maema, but I don't think so. Yeah, no, that 3 skeins is not going to be enough. Speaking of Maema DK, I have some works in progress. That's one of them. If you remember, if you were watching last time, I was having some issues. This is a new design that I'm working on, and it's going through some growing pains. I think I was at the point last episode where I knew the collar was wrong, but I hadn't taken it off yet, I think. So I did take the entire button band off. I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna take it off the mannequin. I'll just be a little Vanna White for you. So I did take the button band off, and I replaced it with, I went up a needle size and I re-picked up all the stitches. And I think when I was doing 1 by 1 rib, I picked up 2 stitches for every 3 rows. I changed it to a garter stitch. And so I picked up 1 stitch for every 2 rows. So I spread those out because garter stitch is a much wider stitch than stockinette or ribbing. So I wanted to make sure that we were picking up the right amount of stitches. So what I ended up doing is, I think what I had before was, 1 by 1 rib with some short row shaping, so it kind of folded over a little bit. It was cute. It just wasn't enough, and it was too structured. I know that it wasn't bad. It just is not very me. That's just not, if things are a little bit too prim, I tend not to wear them. So I wanted to make it a little more casual. So I added this garter band instead. It's just straight. There's no shaping in it. There's no increases at the back to make it fold over. It just kind of bunches around your neck and then flows down. It's much looser. I really like that aspect of it now. But after figuring out the button band issue, I was trying it on and wearing it around and, easing into it a bit. Really loved the button band. Do not love the sleeves anymore. And if I'm being honest, the sleeves are probably the bigger problem than the button band was. Not that they're a problem in themselves. I really do love the way that they fit. They're a little bit ballooned, so they have a tighter cuff, and then they're quite voluminous. The rest of the sleeves, they're quite oversized and then taken in right here. The problem that's happening is when I have my hands down by my sides, the cuff ends right at the same point that the body does. So if you look here, you can see the sleeve goes down a little bit. When you're actually wearing it, it sucks up to your wrist. So everything was in a line. And it just, the proportions were off. So I had 2 options, I think, when it comes to that. So I have my sleeves, I have my body. I could either lengthen the body, which would mean I have to reknit the button band and get more yarn, and then knit more body and reknit the button band, or shorten the sleeve. And I'm going to shorten the sleeve. So instead of having it hit here, I'm actually going to have it hit about here, about where my, sorry about that, my phone ran out of storage, of course. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten the sleeves to about this length, and I'm not going to pull in at all at the cuff. So they're going to be looser, just looser fitting all around. So there's not going to be any tightness here. They're not going to be fitted. They're big sleeves. They're going to stay big sleeves, big flowy, awesome sleeves. And you know, as I was thinking about it too, I do feel that it's more in the same vein as the original Maema. This sweater is based on a fingering weight version that I published quite a few years ago now. Still one of my most popular patterns. People have been asking for a DK version for so long, but I didn't just really want to make a straight across DK version. So I made some alterations. I changed the sleeves. I changed, you know, a couple different things. But I feel like, yeah, changing the sleeves, having them, because the original Maema I think has, you know, 3/4 sleeves. I think they end about here, and they're nice and wide as well. And then it just has a simple 1x1 button band. So this one has a bit of a different collar. The sleeves will be a bit longer, but it'll still be kind of in that same loose, casual, oversized vein. Yeah, so that's probably what I'm gonna be working on over the next couple weeks, is lopping off about 6 inches of those sleeves and then just reknitting a little cuff. I'm not sure whether I'm gonna do garter stitch or 1x1 rib yet, but we'll see. So that's kind of where that is at. The yarn that I'm using for that is Flock Fiber. Their Fireside DK in Spiced Pecans. It is a yarn I have been in love with since I knew what hand-dyed yarn was. And I've never used it before, so I'm very excited that this is what it's getting used for. A couple, what else did I have? Oh yeah, I started 2 more things. Okay, so I have some baby nets that I get to work on. George's teacher is pregnant, and so she is having a baby boy in the spring. And then one of my best friends is also pregnant as well. So I get to knit baby sweaters. I'm very excited. So I've almost finished one of them. I don't know which one's gonna be for who yet. I'm just gonna knit a couple and then see where they wanna go. But this is one of them. I'm just working on the button band. And this is the Gramps cardigan by Tin Can Knits. It is a pattern I've knit so many times. I think I made Georgia 5 of them over the years. And this is just made with scraps. This is all DK weight scraps of yarn from my bin that I just striped up into little sections. This pattern also has little pockets that kind of go on the front, which I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to add, but they are super cute, so I probably will. And then it just has a big kind of shawl collar with some buttons. Yeah, what are these yarns? I don't even know what these yarns are. This one is Fiddly Dye Works Goose, which you'll see more of in a moment. This one is, these 2 blues are from Hypothesis Yarns. She doesn't dye anymore, but they were part of like a Wes Anderson collection. I think these 2 are Sweet Fiber, and this one is, Back Mountain or something. I can't remember. And then this is Cedar House Yarns. This is what one of my headbands was made out of. She doesn't dye either anymore. But baby sweaters are just the best. So I don't know if I'm gonna knit another one of these Gramps or if I'm gonna find something. I might find something in the gift along, the Indie Design gift along patterns, to see if I can find something new in there that I would like to try for the second baby sweater. I think this one too, I think this one's going to George's teacher because she is having a boy And I feel like this is a cute little boy sweater. I wasn't really, knitting boy, girl colors. I just put together the colors I thought were nice. But I think this would look cute. It would look cute on a girl too, but baby sweaters are the best. And it took that was 3 evenings. And it's so exciting when you're knitting tiny because everything changes so quickly. Yeah, so I just have to finish that button band and then that one is done. Oh, and the pockets. And there's patches for the elbows. But I think even with Georgia's sweaters, I didn't do the patches, but I might do the pockets. The other thing I've been working on is a new design, and I think I shared the swatches with you last time, or maybe the time before. You can see kind of one of them, not this color work one, I'm not quite there yet. This one here, I did do some math and do some writing, and so now I am knitting the sample of the Fiddly Dye Works cabled cardigan. Oh, there's cat hair on it. And this is where we're at with that. That's not a good side to show you. This is the back. So right now it kind of just looks like a weird rectangle, but this is the back piece. It looks very wide because it is going to be oversized, and then these cables are going to kind of go down the sides a bit. And then I've just started, so the back part is finished, and then I just started the front of this side. It's gonna go over and gonna have a nice deep V, a classic little cardigan. I think it's gonna be a little cropped. The sleeves are gonna be a little fitted. Yeah, just a bit of a different silhouette than I kind of usually do, but I'm very excited about this one. The yarn is amazing. This is, again, Fiddly Dye Works. Worsted. I think this is her worsted yarn. Yeah. And Goose. Yeah. And I did have to start this a few times. I think the first time, why did I have to start it a few times? Oh, right. Okay. So when I first cast it on, I did my swatches with a US 7 needle, and when I do swatches, I try to relax as much as I can, especially with sweaters, because I know when I'm knitting more, I loosen up a lot. So I really tried to loosen up my stitches as, and knit how I would normally knit. But even with a size 7, I cast it on with a size 7, just like I did for my swatch. I felt like I was knitting as I was knitting before, but it turned out huge, like just absolutely giant. So I think I got about halfway done the back panel, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. It was, this is a big piece of fabric. This is a wide piece of fabric. But it was probably at least 6 inches wide. It was just not gonna work. Not the same gauge at all. So I did have to rip all that out. And so I went down to a US 6 and have started knitting with that. And it is, yeah, it's much better. And especially because of the cables, because of the silhouette, it is a little bit of a firmer fabric than I work with usually, because usually I'm making drapey, kind of oversized-y things. This one is a little bit more structured, but I think it will work really well with the silhouette that I'm going for. And then, so I'm happily knitting away with my US 6. Everything is going great. But then my cables are doing weird things, and I don't really understand what's going on. Well, let me just grab it for you. Sketched out my cables just on some, I don't know if you can really see that, just on some graph paper so that I had a reference for what I was doing. But I didn't label them. So I didn't label it with a top or a bottom. And I mean, the book goes like this. You can see there's writing on the top, there's writing on the bottom. So I was looking at it when I was knitting it the second time this way, because that makes sense. But the cables didn't make sense anymore, and everything was just not turning out. So then I finally realized that, oh, I was looking at the chart upside down. That's why nothing makes sense. Flipped it over. We're all good to go. I did label it with numbers now, so I know which way is up. And everything, you know, did start to work out beautifully. I did not actually rip it out and restart again because I had just done that. So what I did instead is I actually, when I had my stitches on my needle, I dropped, I think this is a 24 stitch panel. I dropped these 24 stitches and I took them all the way down, and then I re-knit just these 24 stitches up, all the way back up. It may have taken more time even than ripping it out and redoing it. I wasn't this far. I was not this far. I was probably maybe one repeat in. So it was about this much. But it could have been, you know, shorter to just rip it out and redo it. But I did not want to do that for a second time. So yeah, I just I laddered down and dealt with some knitting surgery as I do. A sweater pattern is not complete unless it has been ripped apart at least once. Yeah. What else do I have? I think those are the only things that I have on my needles, but I wanted to talk about something that I am going to be working on probably as soon as, oh, I was going to say as soon as my Musselburgh's done, but my Musselburgh's done because I always need something mindless to work on for, you know, swimming lessons and all sorts of other activities that Georgia has, and, you know, meetings and whatnot. And I have too many socks. I decided I'm not going to knit socks for a little while because I have more than I wear. It's too much. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make some of these. These are little pouches. I originally designed them for cards. So this is called Parlor Trick. They come in a bunch of different sizes. This one is for playing cards. This bigger one is for tarot cards. So I have all these different sizes, and I thought about wouldn't it be neat to have some reusable Christmas bags? So I have all this Christmas yarn that I had intended to make socks with because that was kind of my thing, was making Christmas socks in December. I really don't want any more socks. So I'm going to use some of these to make some little Christmas bags that we can reuse. So I have some of this kind self-striping yarn here, full piece sock. This is Christmas metallic, so it has Stellina in it as well, which is fun. And then just a couple of knit picks in red and green and cream. So I'm just gonna kind of, yeah, knit some of these pouches, and then I can keep them with our Christmas stuff and have little Christmas bags. And once I get past, like, the only kind of tricky part and is this bottom gusset here, but really all you're doing is working flat and then picking up stitches along the side, picking up stitches along here, picking up stitches along there, and then you're just working a tube like you would knitting socks. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter the size, so I can kind of just cast on however many stitches I want and make a couple different sizes. So that's probably going to be my December little Christmas project. I always like having something Christmassy, you know, when December hits, to be festive. But it does not have to be socks. I think tonight, actually, speaking of festivities, tonight it's December 1st. That's usually when we put up our Christmas tree. So we're going to be doing that tonight. And I asked my family, I said, okay, so we're going to do the Christmas tree tonight. Like, let's have crackers and cheese and spinach dip and, you know, kind of appies for dinner. And I can go to the grocery store and get some stuff for, you know, some festive drinks. Like, what does everybody want? And they just listed off every single drink that you could possibly have at Christmas. I was thinking, oh yeah, we'll get some eggnog and, you know, no, we're getting eggnog, we're getting apple cider, We're getting hot chocolate because we ran out of hot chocolate packets. And so we're just doing the whole gambit. Cranberry ginger ale was a request as well, because that's something you can really only get around Christmas time. So we're gonna have all the drinks, whatever anybody wants will be available. And we're gonna decorate our Christmas tree and maybe watch a Christmas movie. And maybe I will get started. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do tonight. After we do the Christmas tree, after everything gets put away, I'm gonna cast on a little pouch and start a collection of little Christmas pouches. Other than that, that is it. That is it for knitting. I think December is going to be a little bit mellow. I don't have any real plans to do any events in December, but I do have plans to start things in January. So if you are not already signed up, I would definitely sign up for our newsletter, because I am planning some online workshops, mostly all about sweaters, because that's what I love talking about, and fit and altering and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do something on, I was talking about that cable panel and laddering down. Maybe I can talk about some surgery things that I like doing. But yeah, other than that, I think that's kind of it for today. If you have not already checked out the Indie Designer Gift Along, that is happening until December 31st. So you can knit any pattern, any paid pattern from any of the participating designers, and enter to win lots and lots and lots of prizes. So that is going to end on the 31st. And then there's also, that one's on Ravelry. If you'd prefer something off Ravelry, there's also the Fasten Off Yarn Along. That has, I think, almost 100 participating designers as well. And so you can knit a pattern from one of those designers. And until, I think that one runs until December 31st as well. And then there's lots of chatter and all sorts of different wonderful things with those two holiday knit alongs. So I'm very excited. You can double dip in those. So if you do something for the Indie Design Gift Along, you can also, I think, use it as a entry for the Fasten Off Yarn Along, as long as the participating designer is participating in both. I don't see why not. I don't think anyone's gonna stop you. And vice versa as well. If you participate in the Fasten Off Yarn Along and you want to go onto the Indie Design thing on Ravelry, yeah, you can kind of switch that up. Anyways, that is it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful start to December. I'm very excited about setting up Christmas. It's always very fun for me. And maybe I'll share some pictures on Instagram when it's all put up. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoy some Christmas or holiday festivities as well, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.